There we go. That took quite a lot of effort. Now you can see the problem. It's got these clips, and trying to get inside with very thin prise tools to pull them out is very difficult. I actually found what I did on the seat is I pulled away at this so I could get the piece in to push the tabs. Even so, it was very difficult to do. That's a very difficult piece to take off. But the good news is, now that's out, it means I can undo the rest of this and take all of the padding off, and then we can get it. So, what I've found is, it's correct, there is actually a cable that goes in here, and that connects to the actual seat locking mechanism, an upright mechanism. So I think that's the problem. I don't think the seat is returning. So let me just show you. So this here, that's what allows the seat to recline and fold. So when you move that lever there, it pulls on this cable here, which runs down to here and activates this spring clip. Now, from what I can tell, that, if I manipulate it, you can see it moves that side. Now if I move across, you can also see it moves that side, and because it moves that side, it's also connected to this cable, and this cable goes up and into the seatbelt unit itself. So I think that's the problem. I think that isn't allowing the seatbelt to release. Now what you can see is, over the top here in the foam is the cable that runs over to the lever, and it comes into this block here where cable continues on, but it's also attached here. So I suspect that there's some kind of junction in here that joins them together. Let's see if we can take a look inside it. So if I now manipulate the lever, you can see what it does is it pushes and pulls on this, and this is directly connected into the seatbelt mechanism itself. And I think this is where we've got the problem. I wonder if this cable is stretched or damaged or something, and it's causing the mechanism to lock up. And now even more, to get the actual mechanism itself off, pulling the rubber line up, pulling the carpet back with a bit of glue, and this is what holds the actual belt retraction mechanism in place. Let's see if we can undo that. Oh, it needs a much bigger Torx. Great news, I've found it. So, it's quite difficult to actually show you. Let me see if I can put my torch on. I'll show you what has actually slipped out. So, this bit's fine, and it goes back to the reel. And what I've done is, I've popped the cover off the reel, which is where the cable goes back in. And you can see the cable is just free floating around. Now I'm not going to be able to do this without lots of hands free, so let me try and show you. So when you manipulate the mechanism, it releases this cable, and it allows this cable to move up and down which I'm vaguely trying to show you. That cable is supposed to grip this white plastic piece at the top here and pull it, and you can see it's not doing that because it's disconnected from it. So what I think is wrong is this white plastic here should be attached to that cable, and if I can push this using my screwdriver and then try to release the mechanism, I think that'll work. I'm going to try it without balancing the camera and see if I can show you. Well, I have to say this is probably one of the worst things I've had to repair. I've taken the cable out of here, and what I can do is I can simulate the cable by putting this shim in here, and that pushes down on the plastic lever which releases it, and you should hopefully see the seatbelt is now released. Now, just to show you what it is that I've been through, is I took the plastic clips out to take a look at the actual mechanism inside here. If I take this out, so first of all, this is the standard seatbelt mechanism. This component in the middle is the friction piece. You can see the teeth that jump out and lock the belt. So that's the normal safety thing. The orange piece here is part of the Vauxhall system. And just to give you an idea what's in here, so this is the piece that attaches to the lever and the cable that I was showing you, and when the cable is in and is pulled on, what it does is it moves, there you see, that orange clip out of the way. So that's the first thing that would stop this from spinning, if that orange clip was holding it. So in theory, when the seat is moved, it should grab that and stop the seatbelt retracting. So that's the first step. Then there's a second component, which is this assembly here. Now this actually comes out, and what it is there's a small metal weight attached to some plastic teeth, and the idea is when it's that way up, the teeth will actually grip. If I tip it the other way up, the teeth will actually retract and won't grip. And I think it's probably a combination of the two that failed. Obviously we know that the cable on this component slipped. At the same time, this wasn't fully retracting, causing it not to release. So there's two parts of this. One is the cable, and the second is it has to be the right way up. If it's in anything other than the normal right way up, it won't allow the seatbelt to release properly, and I think that's one of the problems here. So I believe that's now fixed. So I can clip that back on. There's some push pins to push in that will lock that back in place. But if I now show you, so you see the seatbelt isn't retracting. That's because our orange pin is holding it. So that's what's supposed to happen to stop the seatbelt fully retracting when you flip the seats. So that I know that that was one of my faults. If I now act as though the seat has been moved into its correct position, so that pin is released, you'll see what the seatbelt is now doing is it's trying to retract but it won't come out, and that is because it's orientated the wrong way up. So if I now tip it the correct way up, which is this way round, it should it would help if I wasn't having to juggle it all at the same time. You see the plastic comes out when I haven't got the locking pieces in place. But there we go, that should be the correct way up, and we should now find that the seat belt, once I get all of the clips in the right place, the seat belt should now start to operate as normal. And you see, now it is. And here it is reassembled. So I put the belt plastic back in place, put this insert back in, obviously the metal panel behind it. Putting the seat fabric back in is not too bad at all, just pushing down into the groove that runs around here, around the outside. Just push it down firmly all the way around, and it fits back in. Now I haven't pushed it in right down at the bottom here because we need all of this undone to be able to fasten it back in to the car. But you can see the seat belt's moving freely, but it still locks correctly. So we'll take it down to the car, let's get it put back in, and I'll show you where. Easier said than done fitting it back in place. What I've had to do is keep adjusting the pieces that slot in. You can see that one's pretty much lined up. This one here, because the way that it bolts together, it actually bolts using that lap belt, sorry, the centre belt, that one, and it all fits in down the bottom. I think it'll be easiest to do that one after this one's fastened in place. So I'm going to line this one up, fasten it in, then fold the seat down, and we'll try that. I wish I could tell you an easy way of doing this, but there isn't. So I've threaded the bolts through to try and hold it all together. So the order of it is bolt on this side, then into the seat belt socket, then through the body of the seat that holds it, and on the other side is where the middle belt goes. But of course, in between there, it also needs to go through the base to hold it in. So what I need to do is undo the bolt and put it in. Now what I'm hoping I can do is manipulate the seat in such a way like this to get one in and fastened, and then do the other one, because otherwise it all pings apart and you haven't really got enough space. So let's try this and see. Oh, that one's fallen off anyway, so this probably isn't going to work. Let's try and line it up like that. And of course the ISOFIX is now getting in the way, so that's not going to work either. there we have it. Possibly one of the hardest tasks I've had to do because of where the bolts are and getting at them and trying to get this recovered. But you'll see now, if I pull the lever, push it back, make sure it's all the way back, the seatbelt runs freely. So there we go. So several things that we've learned from this. First of all, if the seat is at any other position, you'll see the seatbelt goes one way. It's only going back in, it won't come out. That's because of that locking mechanism. So always make sure you return the seat and it makes that good click. Second of all, when you fold your seats down, pull out a load of seatbelt and hook it round the seat, because otherwise you're going to have this problem over and over again, and you really don't want to be taking this apart. So there we go. I hope that's been useful to you. Total time, it's taken a very long time, to be honest. Just putting the seat back has been 1 to 2 hours. So if I were you, just burn it. It's horrendous. This is a terrible, terrible piece of work to do for something that's as simple as being able to fold and recline your seats as it was designed. And you've got to make sure that it clicks back in place really firmly before you start trying to use the seatbelt. So there you go. Do pop a comment down if you've had to attempt the same thing. Pop a comment and a like and let me know how you got on. Otherwise, see you in the next video.